Okay. Welcome to the July 22nd, 2024 regular meeting of the City of Coolidge City Council. Would you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Norma, would you call the roll, please?
Yes, Mayor. Councilmember Tom Bagnall.
Present.
Councilmember Audrey Saavedra.
Here.
Councilmember Steve Hudson.
Here.
Mayor John Thompson.
Here.
Vice Mayor Jackie Henry.
Here.
Councilmember Tatiana Murrieta.
Here.
And Councilmember Eric Daniels.
Here.
We have a quorum, Mayor.
Thank you, Norma. Looks like the first item of business is call of the public. That is the portion of the meeting where if you have something to say to address the council, you can come forward and state your name and your address, and you have up to 3 minutes to make whatever statement you want to make. However, we will start off with the people that have signed up to speak at Call of the Public. And Norma, who's first?
Mayor, our first speaker is Mandy Childers.
Okay.
Good evening. I'd like to start off by thanking you guys. Recently, the city got a 5% raise increase, so we do appreciate that. I thank you guys for that. Along with that increase, though, we did have some questions with the PD increases. There was obviously some disparity in officers at certain years getting certain amounts. You guys all, I don't know if you guys were given these sheets, but in front of you guys, you could see where we kind of started out, the increase that those less than 1 year officers got ended up being like a 7.6% increase. Officers that were 1 to 4 years, which we have 10 of those on staff, ended up getting a 13% increase. Officers with 5 years, we have 3 of those on staff. They got their 12% increase plus their 2.5% longevity. Officers at 6 years got an 8% increase. We have 1 7-year officer who got a 5% increase, and he got moved up to where he makes equal amount to the officers that have 6 years. After 7 years, everybody pretty much got 5%. So some of our questions, along with a lot of the PD staff, is kind of how were those raises figured out along across the board, being that there's such a variety of percentages. And then also some of the questions, just in talking to some of the staff back there, especially those guys that are 5 years and less, most of them are young. They're not old as we are. And so they kind of want to see what that future looks like for them as well. And so some of the questions that they're asking is, where are we going to be? Where can I see me being in 3 years? Where can I see me being in 5? A lot of times they come to me. I'm one of those senior officers. August 13th will be my 18th year anniversary. I can't give them a whole lot of information because me, myself, I make $100 under midpoint with 18 years in. Now, granted, we'll put that in perspective. The salary range has changed, obviously, a few times since I started with the city. When I started, starting pay was like $39,000 to $62,000. And obviously it's increased because now we're at $60,000 to start, topping out at $90,000. Our midpoint is $75,486. So that was some of the things that we would like you guys to take into consideration. And maybe just if you guys have any answers as to why there was such a difference in percentages, for different officers, because it seems like as the senior officers, obviously we got less. I personally right now make $12,000, give or take, more than a 1 year officer. I don't know that you find that anywhere else. Am I out of time? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Mayor, our next speaker is Lauren, Jennings, and she's here to speak on item number 7.
I am Malcolm Jennings.
Hi, I'm Lauren Jennings, and I live, what address, right? Say that too. Okay, 1272 West Pinkley Avenue. And I've lived here in Coolidge for like basically most of my life. And I really want to ask you, please approve the lease for 670 West Pima with Tiffany Price for Cool Image, because I participated in a lot of plays there, and I've grown a lot, and it's been so fun. And like I've done gymnastics classes, dance classes, and sewing and art classes. And I've made so many great friends because of those activities and experiences I got to experience. And without that building being able to be leased, I wouldn't ever have done any of that. And being able to do the things I love, like acting. So it really means a lot to me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Mayor, we have one more speaker, Aria Jennings.
Hello, I'm Evangeline Martinez. And I'm Aria Jennings. I live at 1272 West Pinkley Avenue. Hello, Mayor and City Council members. Council members. We respectfully ask you to renew the lease for Cool Image. We love acting and doing plays there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, at this time, that's all the speakers that have signed up, so.
Okay. Is there anybody else that wants to come forward and speak? Seeing nobody approach, then we'll move out of call of the public. Move into business items for consent. Does anybody want any of the consent agenda items pulled off for individual consideration?
No, sir.
No? Okay.
Mayor, if there's no further discussion, I move to approve items number 3.
Well, I need to read them first.
Oh. Go ahead. Sorry.
Cart before the horse.
Boy, I'm a little excited there. Okay, item 3. Consider approval to unfreeze the capital sales tax fund to purchase fitness equipment from Advanced Exercise in the amount of $116,371.74 for the Coolidge Police Department fitness room, entering into a cooperative purchase agreement utilizing Sourcewell National Pricing Program Cooperative Contract number 081120-LFF. Item 4, consider approval of a cooperative purchasing agreement with Empire Southwest for a new dump truck in the final purchase amount of $205,171.30 for the Public Works Streets Division under the Arizona State Purchasing Contract number CTR 052847, utilizing Pinal County road tax funds. And 5, consider approval of the claims for the month of June 2024. Okay, now, Councilor Miller.
Mayor, I move to approve items number 3, 4, and 5 as read.
Second.
Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you. Now we'll move into business, regular items. Item 6, amended ordinance number 24-11, an ordinance of the mayor and the city council of the city of Coolidge, Arizona, levying separate amounts to be raised for the primary and secondary property tax levies upon each $100 of the assessed valuation of property subject to taxation within the city of Coolidge for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2025. Mr. Garcia.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the council. This is just an ordinance that amends the prior ordinance that we did for the tax levy. When we sent it to the county, they told us that we had to lower the secondary rate based on the valuations in order to the amount because of the new construction. So this just drops the rate that we approved from 0.1897 for the secondary to 0.1543. So the overall tax rate goes down, but we're still collecting the same amount as was required in the prior ordinance. So all this does is just change the secondary rate down. We can only bring in the amount that's required to make the debt service payment. So all this does is just clear that up. So it was a request by the county.
So ultimately, that doesn't change the amount that,
All the amounts remain the same, it's just the change in the secondary.
all right, does anybody have any questions?
No, sir.
Nobody out there? Okay. All right, then, in that case, I need a motion.
Mayor, if there's no further discussion, I make a motion, we approve amended ordinance number.
Second?
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Norma?
Vice Mayor Henry,
Yes.
Councilmember Murrieta,
Yes.
Councilmember Daniels,
Yes.
Councilmember Bagnell,
Yes.
Councilmember Saavedra,
Yes.
Councilmember Hudson,
Yes.
and Mayor Thompson.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, item 7. Consider approval of entering into a new lease agreement between the City of Coolidge and Cool Image Dance and Gymnastics LLC for the purpose of leasing the building at 670 West Pima Avenue, Coolidge, Arizona, known as the Old Rec, for a period of 1 year. Is
Are you going to mention about
there anybody from the rec department or what?
Mr. Mayor, I think we were going, that wanted to speak on this item, and then we've been asked that they wanted to go, the council wanted to go into an executive session, but since everybody's here, I wanted to give, see if Mayor wanted to give them an opportunity to speak first before we went into.
Well, they could have said something to call the public, but they're certainly welcome to speak. Who's handling it for the city, Ricky?
Good evening, Mayor,
Evening.
Vice Mayor, and Council. Yeah, so this is the lease for the old Recreation Department is what we commonly refer to it as. So the lease before you just spells out what we would do for 1 year, and then with that year, we would assess how the city wants to proceed after that 1 year with the facility. It is the recommendation of the city and the Parks and Recreation Department that we enter into with Cool Image for the dance gymnastics services they provide, as well as the Act One, that theater group that occupies the building.
And I see there are some subleases now.
Yeah, so there's the Act One theater group. So in the lease, it would say, it states that they can keep the subleases they have. They have a tutoring program, they have the Act One theater group, and they also have another tutoring and mentoring program designed for special needs kids as well. So they would keep those subleases, but not add any other subleases to that. In addition to the additional insurance requirements that the city's insurance asks for, that Tiffany has already provided via email to myself and to the finance director late last week. So we do have those documents in hand. We didn't have them in hand in time to attach them to the agenda item, though.
Okay. I see that the insurance certificate now, does that cover everybody?
Her insurance certificate covers her and her subleases. However, our insurance company, and Norma can correct me if I misspeak, asks us to have her subleases also provide insurance as well, just to make sure the city's covered. And those are the documents I received from Cool Image last week. So I do have those documents.
Councilmember Maria, do you have a question?
Yeah, I was just gonna ask, so you have Cool Images insurance and you have the insurance from the 2 subleases?
Yes, the 3 subleases. There's 2 different tutorings and the Act One, as well as an additional certificate that our insurance wanted Coolidge to get, specifically covering bounce houses that are inside the gym. So she got that as well. So everything our insurance asked of the city, she has provided to us.
Does anybody have any questions regarding this matter?
No?
Mr. Mayor, I think the request for council tonight is to consider the lease agreement with Tiffany. The subleases would have to come back and reference this lease, so those would have to be approved separately at a later date.
I mean, it spells it out in the current lease, so I don't know.
Rick, I was reading, I have a question on page 5, item E of the contract, but what did you say? I
think I was just conferring with our legal counsel. He believes, and I believe, that if we have subleases, they have to come back before the council for your approval after this lease is approved with Tiffany. It'd be a separate action by the council to approve the subleases.
at a different time.
Correct.
We can't approve,
It's not on the
we
agenda
can't
tonight.
approve everything tonight.
They're approved tonight. I mean, yeah, tonight on the agenda is the lease agreement that acknowledges, the city's acknowledging that there are two subleases. Tenant may sublease premises to Act One Community Theater, Charlene Hudson, and/or Horizons Tutoring, they're approved subtenants. But the subtenants would have to enter into a sublease that has this lease attached, where they acknowledge they understand this lease, they understand all the requirements of this lease, and they're gonna meet the requirements of this lease to be actual subtenants. You're just acknowledging those are the three that you will consider.
Okay,
Which isn't a problem. We can bring those back at the next meeting,
well,
subleases.
all right, that's only in 2 weeks. In 2 weeks.
Right, I think it ends up being 3 because it's the August 12th, right?
12th.
August 12th.
August 12th is the next.
Well,
council
We could
meeting.
approve this lease as it's written right now, contingent on the other subleases. Is that correct? Is that what I'm understanding?
No, tonight is only this lease
Right.
agreement. In
Right.
this lease agreement, you're acknowledging there's 3 subtenants that are approved,
Okay,
as long as they enter into appropriate sublease agreements.
okay. So I think everybody's read the leases, right? Everybody's good with them?
Well, I've got a couple of questions.
Well, I do too. So let me ask my questions and then I'll give it to Councilmember Bagnell. We may have some of the same questions, so maybe that'll do it. I'm looking at page 5, item E, damage or destruction. It's a 1-year lease. Condition E, if the building burns down or isn't for a year before the action is taken, they have a year to deal with it, but this lease is only for a year.
Right.
So they don't have to do anything for a year? Or, I mean, what, if it burns down and there's a burnt down building on that corner, I'm sure that the people in the
Code enforcement's not-
neighborhood aren't gonna be very happy. So that's one concern I have with this lease. The rest of it, I mean, everybody has their own way of looking. Doesn't look too terrible, but I didn't like section, and it refers to 8B, but 8B doesn't really address it that well, Dennis. And then if you continue on, 8B tells you to go somewhere else that doesn't give you a solid answer. So I was just curious if that was the case. I just want to make sure if it's going to be for a year that we have everybody's protected over there as far as, and there's a rider for the,
The 8B are the other repairs and things like that the tenants already agreed to do. That's all we're citing to in paragraph 12E. That's why 8B is said, we're just acknowledging there's other repairs that they've agreed to do. But AB also talks about its tenants' sole cost and expense shall keep in good order, condition, repair the premises. So 8B is just an obligation they have as a tenant. So that's why it's referenced.
Okay. Well, I'm more concerned about what happens if something goes wrong and there's 12 months there.
12 months is whether for them to start restoring the building.
Yeah.
Obviously, they'd have to clean it up and clean up the property, else code enforcement.
Well, you wouldn't have
would
to
be
clean it up. If you were going to start working on it in 12 months, you can clean it up 11th month.
Right, but the 12 months reference is when they need to, current system, restore or rebuild such building to substantially the same condition as existed prior to such damage. So, I mean, that's what they have to do within 12 months after essentially almost a
Because
total
I don't
loss.
think there's a person in this room that would want to see something sitting somewhere for a year or 11 months.
Well, if they don't start on it, then, I mean, we'd probably terminate the lease.
Okay. Well, and that's not my intent. I just want to make sure that it doesn't, nothing sits here a year in this town. We need to do a better job cleaning things up. Okay, and where's the management plan? Have you seen a management plan, Ricky? They says in here somewhere that there needs to be a management plan.
Yeah, that's something that we'll have to get in place before her current lease runs out and the new lease continues. That's just,
Well, when did you guys plan on doing it? I'm sure the guys up here would have liked to have seen it.
we're working on it, Mayor, I can assure you.
Well, okay, go ahead, Tom.
Okay, Southwest Risk, our insurer, stated that it's virtually impossible to get insurance for bounce houses. But we do have a rider, or Cool Image has a rider that includes the city of Coolidge as an additional insured
And
for bounce houses.
specifically names the city of Coolidge additionally insured for the bounce houses.
Okay,
Yes.
and where is that?
It is in my inbox in my email.
Okay, and the subleases, are those, these one-page documents that we had received on the,
That's the agreement between her. What would come before you for a sublease would look different, will be drawn up by our attorneys.
okay, so this is not the sublease.
No, that's just her agreement with them to sublease the facility. That's not the sublease that you guys would approve.
Okay, but then they'll have to fully execute the sublease.
Correct.
Okay. And there will be insurance. All the sublessees will be insured and name the city as an additional insured as well.
Yes, Councilmember Bagnell, I received those late last week, the same time I received the insurance certificate about the bounce houses.
Okay, well, if all we're going to do is approve the lease, the actual lease between the city and Cool Image tonight, I just not sure if we want to approve it until, we have an assurance or we have something in front of us regarding the bounce houses. That concerns me. And then, too many. But and so we are gonna have to come back and approve the subleases, actual subleases, even though it states in here that there's subleases.
Right, yeah, no, all we're doing is, they're identified as approved subtenants. So, but since she doesn't have an actual lease until this one gets approved, the subtenants are going to have to acknowledge and agree to abide by this lease.
Right.
as Subtenants.
Okay. And then the other thing that concerned me was we have, one of the things on the tenant repairs and timeline, repaired drywall and bathroom behind the stage and also repaired drywall to ceiling kitchen. Why is the drywall coming down in the kitchen?
There was a leak and also a leak in the back bathroom that she had to do some plumbing work on this past year. So the drywall just needs to be repaired in those two areas.
Okay, so the ceiling of the kitchen was the water was leaking from where?
We're unsure. That's the roof that she redid as part of her last lease to the facility in exchange for some rental credits. So it just needs to be repaired. I'm not sure, did it leak with this last rain? Did it leak from yesterday? No. Okay. So just, the drywall just needs to be repaired in that it's a small corner area of the kitchen, and then sort of, she had to bring a pipe in from outside that burst. So a larger area in the back bathroom behind the stage.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, I think we reported before that that roof absolutely needing to be worked on, so there probably will be other leaks on that roof before it's all said and done. That roof needs to be repaired. It's in pretty bad shape.
And that's what I thought the in-kind was for the initial 7-year lease.
Initially it was there, and they did that. They put in a foam roof over it, over the shingles, which are kind of an asbestos tile shingle. They foamed over those. That worked for a while, but that's been 10 years ago, and a foam roof doesn't last forever.
Right.
This needs a significant repair. And in the coming year, as this lease is, if you decide to extend the lease, we'll be talking about those repairs and the things that are needed 1 year from now. Maybe do something in the interim to kind of take care of some of the leaking, but
Well, I've got a foam roof on my house, and I've lived there for 17 years, and have coated it twice, and usually the coating is good for 7 years, and I haven't had a leak, so, I mean, anything can happen to anything. I mean, we can put a brand-new roof on it, and a windstorm come by and rip it off, so, and they saying that a foam roof won't last forever, that's correct. You have to maintain it just like you have to maintain anything else, so.
correct.
And I just did mine. Every 7 years, I got to put a new coating on it. It cost me about $7,000, and it's good for another 7 years. So I don't know who put their coating on it, but it should last more than a year, I would think.
Well, that's probably, how long is it?
Yeah, I think,
When was that
mean,
coated?
I don't know how, she did it right away when we approved the last lease. So it could be coming up. The bids that we've gotten internally as a city, as a staff going forward, our Public Works Department would be for a standing metal seam roof, a lifetime type roof, that is upwards of over $200,000. But that would be something that you would put on and wouldn't have to worry too much about after that. It would look kind of like the Ramada at San Carlos Park that we redid with that standing metal seam roof.
That's our responsibility.
Yeah, something like that would be our responsibility, absolutely. And that's what we'll have to decide in the next year. Do we want to do that type of stuff and continue a lease? Do we want to sell the facility as is, or do we want to fix the facility and then try to sell it? That's everything that'll have to be decided, and will probably come before you guys sometime shortly after the first of the year to decide how we want to move forward when this lease expires, if it is approved.
Okay. And I have just one more question. Initially, it said that they would be installing air conditioning into the gym. Was that done?
Absolutely, it was
That's
done.
done.
Yep, she
And that's still
absolutely did that
working
as soon as the last lease was signed.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Do you have any questions? Over here. Let me ask, you're here, Tiffany. Are they doing chair right now?
Hi.
Hi.
Yes. So we had tryouts in April because if we do a season, the season needs to have summer camp preparing the kids for the season. The first competition is in November. And so we went forward advertising for teams and things like that. All of our parents know that we are on halt until this decision is made. We've been having cheer practices, cheer camps, gymnastics camps all summer in preparation to continue for 1 year. I would ask that this 1 year happen, and then if we go back to the council in January and we determine what the building is going to be next year, we won't have tryouts in April. We won't have a season, but we have 100 kids that are waiting for a season and have put time and effort into it. Just because if we waited until this meeting happened, we would be too late to start a team and everything like that. So we started early in preparation, and the kids know that it could be done tonight, or we could have practice on Wednesday like we had scheduled. So we are currently in season.
Well, I know more about cheer than I want to know. One of my granddaughters is on a cheer team, and so I know about all that. So I'm also curious about Act One. Are they in there all the time too?
Act One is in there on Saturdays. They do Saturday morning rehearsals and things like that. We didn't have anything for July because we're all kind of prepping for the new season. They have auditions and things like that coming up the August 9th. In preparation, we kind of waited till after this meeting to kind of push go 100% on everything. We started everything. We've advertised. We've had camps all summer. But they have auditions August 9th, and we have practice starting Wednesday and for regular season.
Well, I can't speak for everybody up here because they're all elected and they all have their own opinions. But as for myself, I can tell you that I think there's been a monumental breakdown of communication. I don't know if it's on your level or over here or what, but we don't know anything about this except we have to protect the whole city. And we can't have somebody get hurt in there or something go wrong. And I don't know if there's insurance, but we don't have agreements with some of these outfits. The contract isn't being adhered to. There's a lot of things that we need to get straightened out. So are you going to be able to comply with all these things that we need done now?
Yes, I've complied with all the insurance according to what I was asked to get ahead of time. Obviously, I was waiting on the insurance company to get it back to me, but all the bounce castles are a separate agenda. We've been there for 13 years. We've had this business and running, and we've followed all the leases agreements within the 3-year time contract, and moving forward, I want to be able to work with that lease and fulfill it 100% as we have in the past.
Well, I can tell you right now, I've never seen any leases until today. So, and I've been on the council for longer than 13 years. So I don't know where the breakdown is, but I just want to make sure that from now on, the cities are protected. And so our goal up here isn't to take something away from the kids because we need these type of activities. But our goal is also to protect the citizens. And if you're a citizen here, which I know these people are, they don't want to pay extra money because we're not doing our job up here. If something goes wrong and we lose a lawsuit. So, do we need an executive session, or do you want to? How do you want to proceed?
I'd like to go into exec.
Either an executive session or table it until we have the insurance and the management plan in front of us. So I'm good with executive session or tabling it.
Okay, well, all right. Okay. Then I need a motion to move into executive session.
Move to go into executive session.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. We're going to move into executive session for a while. We'll be back. Okay, I need a motion to move out of executive session.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, opposed? Okay, we're back into the regular session. I need, do you have anything further?
No, Mayor, I don't. Thank you.
Okay, anybody over here? Okay,
Okay, Mayor Thompson, at this time, I'd like to go ahead and move to approve the lease as written with one addition, to item 4A to include private parties, and that the approval be conditional upon pending receipt and review and approval by the city's legal counsel of management plan and insurance.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that motion carries, and I would caution you that there should be no lack of communication this time. We need certain things very quickly, and we'll need to have them. Okay? All right? All right, then. We're out of that one. So we'll move to, where in the heck were we? Let's see, so, huh? Okay, report. Okay, Councilmember Bagnell.
Nothing, just glad that was a very short executive session. It's very hot in that room over there. You guys all had that going for you tonight.
Tonight we had people ask about,
Oh, go ahead.
why is there some discrepancies in pay? And I think people really appreciative of raises, but if some people feel like there's 7% and 12%, and why are some people here for 18 years and they're right under the midpoint? I would like more information about how does this all work? Because I think the staff deserve to know are there errors? Is this how this works?
No, we're not going to talk about it tonight because it's not agenda. We just received this tonight as well.
Sure.
It was the same time you did, and we can bring it back and have a little study session with the council on how this was arrived at.
That'd be great.
Through the budget discussions that we had.
Thank you.
I have nothing to add, Mayor.
Only thing I want to add is next Tuesday, we got our city council elections along with other primary elections. Encourage everyone to get out and vote and do your research on the candidates. That's all I had.
And I just want to say congratulations to our local Young Bucks that got the honor to compete in Hawaii. So congratulations to all of you guys that got to do that.
Mr. Mayor, I'd just like to briefly report and thank the dedicated utility workers that quickly restored some pretty serious damage from the storm yesterday afternoon. I know there were a lot of people wondering when they were going to get their power back on, but if they go out and see the damage that was actually on the ground, snapped poles, several of them, it's quite remarkable that you have dedicated crews out there risking their life, actually, trying to get power restored in a pretty quick time. APS was on within a few hours. I know San Carlos irrigation project, funded by the Bureau of Indian Affairs. It took a little longer for them, but they had more damage, significantly more damage. I'd also like to report for those that maybe didn't pass their driver's test, signalized intersection when it's out is a four-way stop. That was one of the problems we had here locally. People were flying through intersections when the light was off. Please be aware that when you have a light off at a signalized intersection, it is a four-way stop. We had one traffic accident resulting from somebody failing to yield at the intersection. But I would like to say hats off to those dedicated employees for restoring power. If anyone is without power still tonight, which I don't think there are any individuals without power, we have opened the Adult Center until 10 o'clock this evening. If anyone needs to leave their home for a cooler place, bring blankets and a pillow, and you're welcome to stay at the Adult Center. Those doors will close at 10. We're not going to stay open all night waiting for somebody to show up. But at 10 o'clock, if you can get there before then, we'll have our CERT team, critical, what's it called?
Incident response.
Yeah, critical emergency response team.
Response.
Yeah, they'll be out there greeting anyone that wants to stay at our facility. Yesterday, those facilities were also without power. It doesn't do much good. People go to a facility that doesn't have power, so APS restored that power pretty quickly, but we didn't really have time to plan for people to go there last night. But tonight it is available. Okay, Mayor. The only other thing, let's see, I was going to also congratulate the Young Bucks, but you did that already. And I don't have anything else, Mayor.
Oh, I've got a couple of things I'm gonna ask, but in the future, like when the adult center and those, power's out, the police department has a generator, so it's cool here, right?
Yeah, they could come here. I mean, there are multiple places that do have generators if someone has a need to get out of the heat. This place is open, the lobby. We had a conversation today about looking at purchasing a generator for the adult center and setting that up more formally as a place people can go to when there is a power outage. That'll require an investment in a generator. We need one of those at City Hall as well, but nothing that a little budget won't fix and acquisition. So we talked about doing that and also having cases of water, pallets of water there at that facility. We'll kind of go through it and use it on a daily basis. So it's kind of, we go through it, but to always have water on hand there in the event somebody needs it. That's all I have.
Okay, that's it. All right. Well, I want to thank everybody for coming out. It's always good to see a nice crowd. And hopefully it ended the way you wanted it to end. But thanks. I need a motion to get out of here.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We're adjourned. Thank you, everybody.